the 7 deadly sins as Family Guy characters. If there was ever a group of characters that perfectly showed what not to do, it's the cast of Family Guy. But what makes their behavior so bad? Well, let me break it down for you. Each member of the Griffin family and their friends matches one of the 7 deadly sins almost perfectly. I've spent some time looking at their wild lives, and trust me, they've done it all. Greed, gluttony, and so much more. From Peter's love for food and laziness to Stewie's angry plans, this family knows how to mess up in every way possible. So stick around, because the more we look, the more you'll see how Family Guy is all about the 7 deadly sins. Number 1. Pride. First up, we have pride. If there's one dog that's the living, breathing definition of pride, well, it's Brian. Seriously, his obsession with being a writer is the perfect example of his ego on overdrive.
And done. There it is, Stewie. 3 hours, 27 minutes, and I got myself one big steaming pile of book.
The moment Brian gets published, his pride skyrockets to new levels.
Brian, they're publishing your book! You're kidding.
His self-help book may not be anywhere near Toy Story level, but that doesn't stop him from assuming everyone recognizes him and has already read his book.
No, you got it, though. Nope. You got it? Nope. Nobody's got it. All right.
Oh, and he even hires Stewie as his publicist.
Well, nice going, Stewie. You ought to be my publicist.
You might think this shows humility, but think again. And it doesn't stop there. Brian's ego grows so massive, he starts to believe he's better than Jesus himself. No, really.
God, you know, Stewie, I used to think that John Lennon was kind of a jerk for saying the Beatles were bigger than Jesus. But now, I mean, it's like, I'm not saying I am, but I get it.
And when he finally makes it big, he starts treating everyone around him like dirt. Take, for example, the infamous restaurant incident. Brian blows up at Stewie for not booking the front row table.
How do you think I feel walking out of the back room of a restaurant and seeing Renee Zellweger eating in the front room?
Then leaves him stranded on the sidewalk while he drives off in a limo. Things only go downhill from there. Right before an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, Brian lashes out at Stewie in spectacular fashion.
I am so sorry. I am done with you. Do you hear me? Done. Get out of here now. Brian, please. You're fired.
Unsurprisingly, the result is an absolute disaster.
See, I think...
Actually, Dana, if I may, I have some insight on this. Bill, do you mind?
Go, dog.
I think it's safe to say that Brian has enough pride to fill a small country. As we leave behind Brian's inflated ego, let's turn our attention to another sin that's about wealth and selfishness. Number 2, greed. I bet none of you saw this one coming. The winner, without question, is Lois's dad, Carter Pewterschmidt. If there's anyone who embodies greed in its purest form, well, it's Carter. There's a lot you could say about Carter, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to him being a terrible, money-obsessed jerk. And he's got no shortage of gems to prove it. Carter's greed doesn't stop with strangers or business rivals. It extends to his own family. Take this unforgettable moment, for example. Peter and Carter awkwardly tried to sell Meg some pot, even handing her the cash.
We're trying to make some money, and, would you like to buy some pot from your granddaddy and me?
But in true Carter fashion, he knocks Meg out cold and swipes both the money and the weed from his own granddaughter. And that's not even the worst of it. It's no secret that Carter's vast fortune is built on the backs of overworked and underpaid migrant workers from South America. He's so obscenely rich, he doesn't even know what a bus is used for.
So, these people live here?
No, this is a bus. People ride it to get places that they need to go.
For Carter, greed isn't just a sin, it's second nature. While greed is all about wanting more, wrath is about losing control completely, and no one embodies this better than Stewie Griffin. Number 3, wrath. Wrath is described as an uncontrollable feeling of anger, rage, and hatred, and Stewie checks all of these boxes. As a 2-year-old prodigy with a sophisticated voice and a penchant for violent outbursts, Stewie has committed acts of carjacking, robbery, and even murder. But what's one unforgettable moment of his unchecked rage? Well, the time Stewie casually smacks Brian with a baseball bat.
Hey, Bri?
Yeah?
Ah! Damn it! Ah! There's glass in my eye!
Just think about it. How much anger do you have brewing inside you to swing at someone with that kind of nonchalance? And don't think for a second that Stewie's wrath ends there. This kid's anger issues runs deep. They could fill an entire season of therapy sessions. Take the time Lois and Peter decide to go on a romantic cruise. Stewie thought that he was going to be part of their romantic getaway.
An hour from now, I'll be surrounded by seamen. Ooh, a swallow.
Stewie, Peter and Lois aren't taking you with them. They've already boarded.
But Brian had to burst his bubble and tell him that he wasn't invited. So what does Stewie do? He sneaks onto the ship and tries to off Lois.
Hello, Mother.
Stewie? What are you doing with a gun?
Something I should have done a very long time ago.
Yup, Stewie literally pulls a machine gun on his mom and shoots her dead. All because she didn't take him on some dumb cruise. Now, if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about Stewie's master plan. He sneaks into the CIA's headquarters and takes command of the planet's entire power grid.
Stewie, for God's sake, they know we're here. What are you trying to do?
Once I locate the proper code sequence, this terminal will allow me to take command of the satellites which control the world's power grid. Once they're under my control, the entire world will be subject to my whims.
This is his way of throwing a tantrum, but with a little more destruction, because his mother didn't take him on some lame cruise. This little guy's wrath is totally out of control. If Stewie's wrath was all about explosive outbursts, our next sin takes a more subtle but equally destructive form, and that is envy. Number 4, envy. Now, when it comes to envy, Meg takes the crown. It's pretty clear that Meg has had a rough time. She's always measuring herself against her more popular and attractive family members, particularly Lois, her mom, and also her siblings. Even at school, Meg's stuck in the loneliness zone with no friends and feeling totally isolated. It's like she's invisible to everyone. In one episode, the popular girl Connie and the entire school gang up on Meg and start throwing balls at her. Poor Meg, right? It's no wonder that she's so envious of everyone else. She's treated terribly, and she never, ever gets a break. What's even more surprising is that it's not just her classmates, it's also her own family that treats her horribly. Peter constantly favors the other kids over her, and Lois isn't much better. She's always chasing after acceptance, validation, or just a tiny bit of respect in a family and a world that seems to take pleasure in making her life as miserable as possible. So when it comes to envy, Meg's got it all covered. But Meg's envy is rooted in feeling unseen. Our next sin is all about seeing too much. Number 5, lust. This guy right here is the definition of pure, unfiltered lust. And no, it's definitely not a surprise. It's the one and only Quagmire. He started drooling over Meg the second she hit 18.
Hey, where's that Pinky going, huh? Where's he going? What's he doing? Get back here. There you go.
But Here's the kicker. He didn't even hold back with Lois, a married woman. The dude is so out of control with lust, he actually went ahead and married her in an alternate timeline, like no shame whatsoever. Oh, but wait, there's more. Quagmire's lust doesn't just stop at creepy crushes. Here's how the guy reacted when he found a cheerleader tied up in a bathroom stall.
Dear Diary, jackpot.
It doesn't end here. Quagmire has a terrible habit of hooking up with his friends' wives. Remember when he slept with Loretta? That stunt was basically the reason that his best friends divorced. And that is just typical Quagmire behavior. So yeah, when it comes to lust, Quagmire is the king and not exactly someone you'd want as a role model. While Quagmire is busy chasing his next crush, Peter's world revolves around more of a literal type of indulgence, and that is food and drink. Number 6. Gluttony. Yes, I don't think there's a better example of gluttony than Peter Griffin, the man who practically eats for a living, overindulging and consuming to the point where it's basically waste. He strolls into a store, loads up on junk food, and the cashier dares to ask if he's pregnant.
What's going on, man? You pregnant?
Now, my wife watched that food documentary.
With a belly like that, he kind of brought it on himself. Then he goes to his car, and the guy is so obsessed with food, he's even got a grill in his car. This is not it. Peter's appetite has got him in trouble multiple times. He was even ready to eat a stapler in the doctor's office.
You gonna eat that stapler?
Well, you can't eat a...
And don't even get me started on when he almost got his family arrested. While Peter's got a serious love affair with food, his true weakness is alcohol. It all comes together when he snags a job at his favorite beer haven, the Pawtucket Brewery. I mean, if he can't drink all the beer, he might as well work where it's made, right? But oh well, his beer obsession didn't let his job last for that long. Now that we've seen Quagmire, we've seen Meg, and especially in this one, we've seen Peter's gluttonous ways. Let's move on to someone who manages to waste every opportunity they get. Chris, the king of sloth. Number 7, Sloth. Chris just won't get off the couch, even when his dad lost a lot of weight.
Are you ready to sweat?
I woke up sweating.
Okay, let's climb this hill.
But he didn't feel like trying at all. His laziness even got him the title of biggest boy at school.
Well, he's a big boy. He's the biggest boy. He's a big boy. He's the biggest.
Another time, Meg catches Chris stealing from Lois's purse and takes full advantage of his guilt. She guilt trips him into doing a few simple chores, like watching bad TV and also reading a card. But even that is too much for Chris. Desperate to keep Meg quiet, he makes the bizarre choice to move in with Herbert the pervert, rather than lifting a finger to help.
Hi, I ran away from home. Do you mind if I live with you?
Live with me? My goodness.
Chris, much like his father, isn't exactly known for his smarts or his good judgment. But hey, it's not all on him. He's got his own set of challenges. So there you have it, the 7 deadly sins Family Guy style. From Brian's ego to Peter's bottomless stomach, the Griffins and their crew have checked every sinful box imaginable. But what do you think? Did we nail the lineup, or is there another character that deserves a spot? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because unlike these characters, we promise to keep the chaos fun. And I'll see you in the next video.